So we will tell you about our ongoing project that is called Engagement with Environment, Art of Echoes, Traditions and Rituals. Folk healing in Finland was traditionally practiced by sages or sorcerers called tietäjät, velhot, or noidat. And sound played an important role in the healing rituals that contained chanted and recited spells, shouting, mooing, stamping the feet, shooting with a gun or knocking with a stick, and often in a kind of entranced state of mind. With this noise, healers aimed to fight against supranormal forces, beings or spirits that caused the illnesses, to negotiate with them, to talk with them, and to expel them from the patients. The rituals didn't take place in a photographic studio like in this photo, and not only in domestic settings, but healing rituals were also performed in the natural environment, in the forest, far away from villages, and especially at rocky formations, cliffs, boulders, gorges, and caves, where the spirits were thought to reside. In these places, these beings could be confronted and returned to their own right place. And these places were often called devil's churches or devil's mountains, like here. In our project, we are wondering, how did these healing rituals sound in practice? Did the rocky environments contribute to the rituals by generating echoes and reverberation? Did the acoustic phenomena have an effect on the healing experiences and practices? Furthermore, which other aspects make these sites special and meaningful even today? And what happens when a present-day artist visits this type of site for the first time? Our case study focuses on this rock called Vaskikallio, meaning copper rock. It is situated in Lieksa, eastern Finland, and it's also called Devil's Church. It's a steep rock cliff in a gorge valley in a complete wilderness, far from everything still today. It has a smooth wall-like surface, 30 meters in height, and several shelters and caves that have collapsed over time. A local tradition holds that in old times, Vaskikallio rock was used by sages called Velho Vinne and Kakkaran Noitaukko for performing magic, enchanting prey animals, sending predators to cattle, or worshipping devils, and for healing the sick. And interesting is that Velho Vinnes, real historical persons called Paavo Vinne and Antti Vinne, can be traced in local parish registers. They lived in the nearest village to Vaskikallio, so it seems they were not only mythical figures. And more importantly, 27 spells or healing charms collected from Antti Vinne can be found in folklore archives. Here you can see opening lines of 2 of his healing charms. They were used to stop the bleeding and to heal burns. And the thrilling thing is that we can reasonably think that these spells were originally performed at Vaskikallio rock. To find out how Vinne's rituals sounded in their original context, we made field recordings at Vaskikallio 2 years ago. Firstly, acoustic measurements to measure the acoustic properties of this site. The measurements indicate that yes, there is an echo there projected by the cliff. And there are a couple of fainter echoes projected by the gorge. And in addition, a lot of reverberation from the surrounding trees from the forest. And total reverberation time is 1.75 seconds. In addition, we recorded Antti Vinne's spells in their original acoustic and environmental context. And here you can hear how our singer Eero Peltonen recites a spell that was used to heal pain caused by magic arrows. And you can also hopefully hear how the echoes and reverberation from the environment rumble in the background. So the performer is not alone, but surrounded by a mass of sound that evokes images of these spiritual forces present, invisible acousmatic beings present. The end of my slides, and as I don't have Noora's slide, I have to summarize them very quickly and from my head. Noora also interviewed Eero Peltonen after these recordings, and she also interviewed a local entrepreneur who organizes wilderness safaris there in this area, and she also interviewed a descendant of the local sage Vinne. We found one of a person who says that those Vinnes were his ancestors. And these interviews, Noora got very nice results with these interviews, but unfortunately, they are not here now. And what can I say? With all this combination of approaches, our study that is still ongoing and far from finished, it tries to disclose how these 19th century healing rituals sounded in practice and functioned in their natural settings. And our idea is that there was a dialogue with the surrounding space that was important part of the rituals.
Thank you so much. We weren't able to hear your embedded sound in your PowerPoint. Is there?
We're not.
No, we didn't. We didn't hear it on our end. I was just wondering if you had maybe a WAV file that you can play from your computer that's not through PowerPoint, because sometimes that becomes problematic. But we would love to hear that.
Yeah, actually, now I remember I forgot to cross this enable, so I will stop sharing and I will do it again.
Perfect.
Sorry.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you. We really want to hear it. Thank you.
Share sound. Now it goes. I have hope. And now you can see it. I will try.
Kuin sinä pistät yksin piston, niin minä pistän kaksin piston. Kuin sinä pistät kolmin piston, niin minä pistän neljin piston. Kuin sinä pistät viisin piston, niin minä pistän kuusin piston. Kuin sinä pistät seitsemin piston, niin minä pistän kahdeksin piston. Kuin sinä pistät yhdeksän piston, niin minä pistän 10 piston. Minä sinun saalle saatan tuhanselle tuikahutan.
Wow, thank you. Do we have any questions from the Zoom room? Oh, we have a question from the live room. One moment.
Thank you. It's a fascinating subject. I'm slightly familiar with the Kalevala, and I assume that that's part of the tradition that you mentioned as far as folklore. But I remember in the Kalevala, there was quite a bit of mention of singing, and you mentioned this gentleman also as singing. But what I heard was more chanting. Is there any more musical intonation involved that you've been able to uncover and document somehow?
Yeah, thank you very much. Yes, Kalevala is made of this kind of spells. So it was these are kind of raw material from which our national hero composed this Kalevala. So this is exactly the same material. And these spells, they could be either recited, like here, or chanted or sang. So there are several techniques, and it probably was that they were performed in several different techniques. And we also made recordings where Eera was singing clearly. So, but only this example that I showed was this kind of technique. So, but I think that this kind of reciting a speech like style, it works better with echo because there is more space between the syllables and words to hear the acoustic response.